obviously, due to COVID protocols and everything, we would love to have you there. We're requesting that you don't try to shake hands with or hug Martha and Ann, although they would love to speak to you. And at this time, please join me in welcoming two of the stars of this film, Ann Dowd and Martha Plimpton.
Those of you who are in back, come on down closer.
Maybe they don't want
I think that's a...
Whatever you say.
Yeah, why don't you come closer if you can, and then we can...
Mine's working if you want.
Oh, no, but you have...
Thanks for that
I can
cry.
also project.
Thanks for that good cry.
Thank you both so much for being here. This is primarily an audience of SAG-AFTRA actors. So I'd actually like to start by asking, how did you get your SAG card? What was the job that brought that magical card to you?
It was a magical card. If only I could remember. Don't remember.
Take mine.
Oh. Well, are you sorry?
No, I'm good.
She's not going to use it. Look at her.
Scream.
She's bragging. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm used to it by now. I'm only kidding. She's not. Stop.
You want to use it?
No, I want her to think about her SAG situation so I can remember mine.
Well, I think I got my SAG card when I did my first movie, obviously. But we've met before.
Yes.
You took your mask off, and then I recognized you.
It's hard. I walked past my
That's the
own
crazy
mother.
thing about these
Yeah.
masks.
Yeah.
You don't know. You're like, and then they take them, and you go, "Oh, it's you! It's good to see you again. Happy birthday!"
Thank you.
It's her birthday today, everyone. I did my first movie at the age of 11. It was a movie called Rollover with Jane Fonda and Chris Christopherson, directed by Alan J. Pakula.
Love him.
But it was a tiny role. I mean, I played the daughter of the guy who gets killed sort of halfway through the movie, but it was a tiny role. I remember we were shooting it, and there was, I don't know if you remember, well, of course you remember, in the 70s and early 80s, there were people used to have those big console televisions with speakers on either side. And we were shooting in this house, and this is the only reason I'm telling this, because this is the only interesting thing about it. We were shooting in this house, and there was a lot of downtime, obviously, between shots, and so we were sitting there and watching the television, and Reagan got shot. So that's what happened when I was getting my first SAG card.
Do you think the two events are related? Or
Well,
just
obviously not.
I love that movie. It is terrifying.
I haven't seen it since, but maybe I should watch it again.
Yeah, it's actually probably very timely now.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
think. And what about for you?
Well, I do remember I blocked the name of the show because it was a slightly mortifying experience. I played the mother of, I think it was a kid's sort of lovely thing, and I was enjoying it. The director kept giving me notes and then more notes, and then, you get the feeling, whoop, not doing this one the right way. Yeah, but the card came, and so that was great. Count your blessings, as they say.
Well, now I gotta look this up. Well, again, congratulations on Mass. It is it's really a stunning film, and I'm a fan of Fran Kranz as an actor, and this is his feature directorial debut, which just stuns me because it is so assured and so smart. I don't know if you knew Fran or how the script found its way to you, but what interested you, not just in your roles, but in this project?
I didn't know Fran. Reed knew Fran quite well, and they were friends, proper friends. I think, more than acquaintances, maybe less than friends. But Fran very much wanted Reed. He sort of wrote it with Reed in mind, I think. And among the many iterations the script took, it finally became what it is, what you see now. And I received a copy I think in early 2019. And when I read it, I mean, it was presented to me very plainly as this is a film that has no budget, and but a wonderful director and a wonderful writer, and see what you think, because if you like it, you ought to meet with this guy. And so I read it, and I plowed through it, and that's not normal for me at all. I don't normally finish scripts, to be honest. I don't normally like reading scripts. I find them hard to read, and it's difficult for me, for whatever reason. This isn't true for everyone, but for me, it's difficult for me to envision the world that's going to end up on the screen when I read a script. And but with this one, I mean, on the one hand, it's relatively simple, and there's not a lot of like cuts and action and whatever. It's a fairly simple thing, but also it didn't bore me either, and I just felt very drawn along, drawn in by these characters and by the momentum of their conversation, which I found to be very natural and very organic. It didn't, none of it, no turn did I feel that any dialogue was put on or was studied or self-conscious in any way. And I also felt the movement, it's weird to say this, but I felt the movement of the camera as I read it. I don't know why. There's nothing in the script to suggest there may be, a couple of cuts or whatever that are in the script, that are written in the script, but I just sort of felt like I knew what was in that room. I knew the thing. And so I immediately wanted to do it, and I met with Fran, and he was everything I'd hoped for, and sort of maybe even less in a good way. He didn't try to sell me on anything. He didn't try to pitch me on anything. He just told me that this was an important film for him, that it was a story that he'd felt compelled to make, and that he wanted to be as true to these characters as he possibly could. And so I said, great, let's go ahead and do that.
Did you know at the time anyone aside from Reed was attached?
No, Anne was not. I think Jason may have been attached as well by that point. And of course I knew Jason's work. I knew him particularly from The Death of Stalin, which is one of my favorite of his films, a very funny movie. And I thought he was absolutely hilarious in that movie. But I also thought, oh great, I thought actually Jason and I would make a good pairing somehow in an odd way. And we didn't meet before we all met. But yeah.
And Anne, for you, did you know Fran?
I did not know Fran. I didn't know any of the actors personally.
Really? I thought you knew everyone.
No, I don't know. I know very few, as it turns out.
No, that's not true. You've worked with everyone, it feels
I
like.
mean, well.
Okay, but you know Bill Camp, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure do love him. But I'll tell you, when I read it, I knew I would do it. My only concern, I can never talk about it, but I am going to, because she's strong, talented, and healthy, go that way. I just wondered if I could live truthfully in it and serve them as they deserved. However, you know how it works. It's so nice to be in a room of actors and people from SAG. You know how it works when you listen to a stronger voice inside rather than the worry in your head. And so I was sure I would do it. I didn't meet Fran. I didn't want to meet him. It's horrible. I just knew I wanted to do it. I didn't have anything to ask him. I don't have Martha's visual awareness. I had no idea how it would go. But it was sacred territory, that's for sure. And I read it again last night. I I told you this. She made fun of me.
No, I didn't.
A little bit.
No, I didn't.
See, now we're going to come to know this one a little bit differently. Happy to share. I adore her. I'm joking. You understand? All right, you can get back at me. She more than anyone knows how to get it done.
No.
I'm kidding. Anyway, I read it again last night. Honestly, I don't know how we did it. It was so painful to read it and to try to go back there. It was not painful shooting. It, as I said, sacred territory, help coming in from all places. Never experienced such generosity in a character in my whole life than Linda. Because as parents, you know, you can't go there. What if I lose my? And how do you then add to that? And what if my son causes the pain indescribable for others? So I just said a little prayer. You're gonna have to help me out here. And we're so lucky, aren't we? We all know what that's like. God, it's the best, isn't it? Anyway, so she came in, gave me a boost. But it was interesting to read it and to think, oh my goodness, how? But we were all so close, so quickly. I'd do anything for this one. It's my family, as are the other actors and Fran. That's it for life, whether she likes it or not.
Where is this coming from?
Oh, sweetest girl. Look at her, fearless. But that's how I feel about them. Feel as grateful as ever.
I am curious because this is a movie that depicts the unthinkable, and you know, your body often doesn't know the difference when you're putting yourself in your character's shoes. What was the atmosphere on set like? Were you able to have levity? I feel like with Jason Isaacs around, it's hard not
Try
to.
Reed Birney.
Really?
Reed
General
Birney.
Reed.
Oh, funniest. I don't know what to say.
Reed Birney's the funniest man.
It is absurd. There were times when literally, no, we've just shot, you imagine.
Yeah.
And I'd be like this on Martha or on a table. And he would go like
He
this.
would just walk over and just shove her.
No, this is what's even funnier. When I would collapse, he would go like, remember this? He'd go like this.
Yeah.
He would just gently, and I was
gently,
gone.
lightly, yeah.
And then I tried it on my family. I said, oh, watch this. And I did it on two of them, and they're like, what's funny about that? Oh my God, remember? And then I would steal his phone. I was a child around him. And at first he'd say, where's my, of course, that's all I wanted. Panic, where's mine? And then all it took was once, and I did it 50 times, and he'd just go like this, give it to me. So was there levity, Missy?
Oh my God, he was so funny.
And we knew, God, yeah, how did we do that? Meaning, I don't mean we're heroic or anything. I just mean go from where we were to
I
that.
don't think there's any other way. I mean, you know, you can't live in that place all day in and day out. It's not possible. You end up in a loony bin. And nor would it be any good if you did.
There you go.
It would just be
It was not about
morose,
suffering.
and it would just be maudlin.
Tell what we did at night,
Well,
if you want.
yeah.
Now we need to
I'm
know.
not running this.
Sorry. You know, we'd shoot our days and we'd laugh a lot, and the good thing was that because we were light dependent, we had to finish at 5 o'clock.
That was such a gift.
We had to finish at 5
You go
o'clock.
home.
And that was really great, because then you'd have a whole evening, right? Well, I'd say a whole evening. You'd have at least until, 10 o'clock or whatever. You'd have to get up at 5 a.m. the next day. But you'd have the evening at least to gather in the dressing room, to work on lines, or go out for a steak dinner, which was basically all there was there. Now, there were a couple of good Thai places, I think.
Did we ever go to them?
I did. I don't know where you were.
I was in my room,
Yeah.
rocking or something.
Yeah. You were in your room studying like professional actors.
See what I'm saying?
The rest, no, come on.
Oh,
But,
and you're not mad that I'm teasing,
no,
are you?
of course not.
I can only go so far, and then it's all about apologizing.
Of course
for the
not.
rest
This
of
is
my life.
all new. I haven't met this woman. But anyway, yeah, we'd go out to eat it. We went out a few times to
It was
eat.
fun, really
Yeah, it
fun.
was really fun.
But we met together in rooms. That's what I
Yes,
was
we
talking
did.
about.
We met together in rooms or around tables, and the actors are us, because we did have so much to learn.
And
Yeah, we'd have a lot to learn, and there was just, I mean, my feeling when I initially met Fran was that we would need at least a week of rehearsal around a table. Well, we weren't going to get that because we had $7.50 to shoot this movie.
2 days, right,
Yeah.
baby?
2 days, and Fran keeps saying we had like a third of an extra day, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't remember that at
I
all.
do remember that, actually.
Okay, well, I blocked it out.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't rehearsal as we know.
No,
it
it wasn't. But we
table
did,
work, as
yeah,
you
we
said.
had table work. But I felt that we would really need this around the table to rehearse it, at least just to get the lines down. We didn't get that. So we met in each other's rooms, and we tried our best with Jason Isaacs around, who's always interrupting everybody and telling
The
stories.
two of them, that we should have filmed those conversations.
But
Great.
and we'd run through them, and then you know we'd go our separate ways, and then continue to study our lines till the wee hours. Yeah, I don't remember what I'm talking about
Well,
anymore.
actually, this leads me to another
Because I
question.
put you on the spot.
Was the film shot chronologically or somewhat?
The stuff at the table was. The stuff at everything at the table was because of the nature of the other actors. We couldn't very well ask people like Brita to be there, or Michelle to be there at the beginning and wait around, and also we didn't have the money for them to fly back. So we had to shoot all the stuff outside of the room in the first week, in the first 5 days or something. Then after that, we shot everything in the room was chronological.
Except that ending came up before we shot the room.
That's what I'm saying. Everything outside the
Yeah,
room we
right,
had to
right,
shoot in the
right.
beginning.
How many days did you have?
8.
Are you kidding me?
8 at the table and a little more, and we had about 2 weeks there, so we had 8 at the table and then 5 days outside doing the stuff that happens before the table.
Which was perfect.
You like it that way?
Well, I think, thank you, that's very, very generous.
Where did you shoot it?
We shot it in Idaho.
Haley, Idaho, and we stayed in Ketchum.
Is that where we were?
Yeah.
It's awful pretty, it was really pretty.
Yeah.
And they took good care of us, you know.
Yeah, really good care.
Wasn't that nice?
Yeah, it was.
Those rooms were lovely.
And our van driver, Bingo, Reed reminded us of our
What a
wonderful
doll.
van driver, Bingo. He was great.
So you were okay with such a short shooting schedule? It sounds like you almost preferred it.
Well, I don't know how you linger
Yeah.
in such a world.
Mm-hmm.
I think, as I said, it was all protected. I don't know, I felt that, just our connections to each other and the flow of the day. I don't know, I thought it worked, everything came together. I liked it.
I want to talk a little bit more about Fran because, again, I can't believe this is his feature film debut, and I think about how, in so many ways, this film could have gone wrong. It could have gone off the rails. It was such a risk that paid off so beautifully. I'm curious if his background as an actor, if you think that helped him as a director communicate with the two of you.
What do you think?
I think that Fran's an actor, yes, but I think more than that, he's an exceptional human being. So whether he were an actor or whether he had experience as an actor or not, I think his gifts come from another place.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a natural writer and he's a natural director. So in other words, I'm not sure if that helped him, or, you know, I know plenty of actors who were terrible directors. I know plenty of writers who try to direct their own material and are dreadful at it. But Fran is a very special animal, I think, and he's in a different category. He's someone of immense empathy and sensitivity and intelligence. He's incredibly smart, and very funny, and he plays it close to the vest. But he's also got his wild, kooky, his wild side.
His
But
sense of humor is
His sense of humor, yeah.
very original.
Very original. But he's a of a different. He's a what is it? The animal of a different color, or whatever you call it.
Horse of a different color.
Right, right. What'd you say?
Horse.
A horse of a different color. Thank you.
Where are you
The
from?
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Are you from Boston?
No.
Where?
Where?
I'm from Woodland Hills. What are you
Woodland
talking
Hills.
about?
I would have said Boston,
New York.
New York.
New York.
New York.
New
You
York.
sound like a New York taxi driver.
Wow.
I thought it was Boston because you don't hear that accent anymore.
The other thing about Fran, did you finish your
No,
thought?
yes, of course.
For me, the parent in the room is what is deeply required of a director. Because you're gonna let it down, the vulnerability, right, the walls. So someone who understands what's going on emotionally, knows he needs to hold it for us. He knew, and knew, he just knew what it was. You could say and do anything, lose it, whatever it took, he could hold it. And I'm attached to that one for life too.
Oh yeah.
That's it. And he has, what else struck me about him was he was determined, passionate, and it was going to happen. But he did it without pressing us. He didn't, that guy, come to find out, he takes a lot of stress in. He gets stressed, he's got a lot going on. Well, I didn't know that there, which that to me is remarkable. To set it, we got all day, no worries. And that's, how important that is when we don't have rehearsal, for someone to create that environment. So yeah, I agree, he's a very special
absolutely
guy.
agree. Yeah.
Very special guy.
Well, it is such a beautiful film. I want to remind everyone it comes out on October 8th, so please spread the word. Let everyone know. Again, there's a reception downstairs. Again, I'm asking you not to shake hands if possible. Thank you so much for
You got
this.
one question back there?
Oh, well, come on down.
Very fast. Was there always one camera at the?
No.
Uh,
Two.
two. All right.
Only when the aspect ratio changes at the end, towards the end of
When
the.
it's handheld, you mean?
No, when it's handheld, sometimes we had a handheld and one on a dolly. But when the aspect ratio, in other words, when it gets wide shot, we
Yeah.
couldn't have physically two cameras in the room because it wasn't a practical room. It wasn't, we couldn't fly out walls or anything.
But it was able to grab a lot of good reactions. out
Exactly,
there.
up with the two cameras, yeah.
Please come downstairs and
Yeah.
we can continue this conversation.